Good morning, Oracles. Last week, Tesla released their 2021 Impact Report that showed all of the different ways that they are changing the world with renewable energy and going cleaner. And so we'll take a little dive into this today and discuss how it can impact the future going forward, not only for the entire world, but for your portfolio as well. An important place to start is, what is the goal for the future for Tesla? And so they put down for 2030, and these are numbers that we had seen previously, so it's no big secret, that they're aiming for 20 million vehicles delivered, and they're aiming for 1,500 gigawatt hours of energy deployed. So this is obviously significant growth from where we are today. As of right now, every time that Elon has set a number for vehicles delivered, they have hit it. FSD is a different animal. Yes, we could discuss that at a different time. But when it comes to actual production and deliveries of vehicles, they have hit those numbers. So despite any supply chain issues, despite any other problems that we've had with COVID, they have still hit these numbers. Q2 may be the only hiccup along the way, but when it comes to the grand total at the end of the year, I think they're still going to achieve this. And they also stated that they wanted Giga Nevada to be the largest lithium-ion battery factory in the world. So that is a huge stretch that they are going to be striving for, and every single one of the factories that they have is going to be recycling batteries when they come in. And this is significant because once we get to a point where there's a lot more EVs out on the road, that means that a lot of the mining and supplies that need to be done don't need to be done. They could just keep on reusing it. And there's about 95% of the battery that can be reused through recycling. So Tesla is going to be doing this, and JB is also going to be having Redwood Materials doing this as well. So battery recycling is just starting to build up now, but is going to have a much larger impact over the next 10 years. And Tesla to date has created over 100,000 jobs. They had 3 million job applicants in 2021. That is significant. So that just shows how many people want to go work for Tesla. The number one and number two places that engineers coming out of college want to go work for are SpaceX and Tesla. As far as the legacy automotive makers go, the first one on the list is GM at number 17. That's far down the list. Yes, they're top 20, but there are many, many other places that engineers want to go work for ahead of GM. So when you have that kind of a lead and you can bring in the absolute best talent and you can literally go and pick whatever you want for your talent, you're going to have the best people driving your business forward even more. I related to, I'm here in Connecticut, so the Yukon Women Huskies, their basketball team is absolutely unbelievable. And for the last 20 years, they've been unstoppable. And they literally, for about 10 to 15 years, had their pick of whoever they wanted to recruit for their team because everyone wanted to play for them, which is why they dominated for so long, because everyone wanted to play for them. Tesla is in the same situation right now. Everyone wants to play and work for Tesla. So this is why Tesla can choose whoever they want to make themselves even better. And Tesla does one of the things internally that is awesome for their business, and that is promoting from inside. 69% of their promotions are internal, which is great because that means that the people who have been there and are dedicated to the company and have seen the benefits and the impact that they have on the world are the ones who are getting moved up the chain, and they can make an even larger impact as they move up the chain in the company. This is significant, and this makes a huge difference when it comes to the buy-in for employees as they move forward and the company grows. And when it comes to the actual production of the vehicles, they have a fail safely program, which is something we had discussed previously on here, and how Tesla can adapt so quickly on the fly. Many legacy automotive makers, the way they do it is they have a model run year. So let's say this is the 2023 model, and then they'll make some tweaks for the 2024 model. Tesla does everything on the fly. So if there's somebody in the factories, an engineer somewhere along the way who says, you know what, I think we can improve this part of this manufacturing, they have a safe place where they can go and test this, and they test it to fail. That is the whole goal, and SpaceX does this regularly. And they test things where they can fail safely until they figure out how to solve that problem, which then in turn gets tweaked into the model runs, and then they keep on going. So there's no actual model year when it comes to Teslas. It's just they're constantly improving on the fly by failing safely in the factories. And in doing this, this is how they can create a better and better product over time. There's a story that's out there about a pottery teacher who has his students split up into two groups, and one group is going to create the perfect pot, and the other one is just going to create as many pots as possible. And while the group with the perfect pot sat there and they're trying to figure out what the best way is, what is the perfect pot, and they're trying to figure out what it is, what means the perfect pot, how would they create it. Meanwhile, the other group is just pumping out as many pots as possible. The first few came out kind of messy, and then they tweaked it and improved over time. And then by the time the end of the class got there, the team that was trying to figure out the perfect pot didn't even have anything made. Meanwhile, the team that was making the most pots possible ended up making the perfect pot because they failed along the way and learned from their mistakes. This is how Tesla operates in their manufacturing. And in their process of doing this, they have come up with better and better batteries. So one of their other goals to impact the future is the battery. And going back, we've heard stories about having to replace batteries in old Teslas that could cost up to $20,000, which is expensive. Well, Tesla now is creating batteries that are designed to go for 1,000,000 miles. Most vehicles here in the US are turned over after 200,000 miles, and in Europe is 150,000 miles according to their report. So this means that most likely a vehicle that you're going to buy, if you purchase a Tesla, it is not going to have a battery fail. If it is, it's a strange one-off thing, which is going to be covered by warranty anyway. So your battery is going to be lasting longer than the life of the vehicle. And then when they get the vehicle back, if you don't sell it to someone else who can use it for another 200,000 miles, when Tesla gets it back, they're going to be recycling it and getting 95% of that battery back to be able to put back into future batteries. And then this is where robotaxis come in, where Tesla mentioned that this is part of their core mission is with robotaxis. And robotaxis are not going to be like a personally owned vehicle that you may turn in after 200,000 miles. These vehicles are going to be running continuously until they fail, and that could be 1,000,000 miles. By having that one vehicle run 1,000,000 miles, that means that you're going to be removing many more vehicles off of the road and a significantly lower impact to the environment. This is why it's huge. Think about all the different taxis that we have running through New York City. If you replace those all with robo-taxis that are going to run for 1,000,000 miles, that is a significant amount of CO2 that is going to be removed from our atmosphere. So this is a huge impact that they're going to have going forward. We haven't even gotten to that point yet, but this is why it's such a huge piece and a core part of their mission. And currently, Tesla has generated more power than they have consumed between all of their solar that has been deployed and all their vehicles that are out there consuming energy and all their factories that are consuming. They are net positive in producing energy rather than using energy. This is huge, and it's going to grow even more as we go forward. They did say that it's going to be a challenge as production of vehicles is growing so rapidly. They need to make sure that their solar deploy is going to be just as large going forward. So we may see a little bit of unbalancing over the next couple of years. But seeing as their goal for 2030 is 1,500 gigawatt hours of energy deployed, that will balance out and they will be net positive still at that point in 2030. And so what does this mean for the future? This means a much cleaner and healthier future for all of us around the world. And what does this mean for your portfolio? Well, when you have vertical integration like Tesla has, when you are creating the energy that you need to operate all of your factories, and when you have your competition literally paying for your gigafactories to be built, you are on a winning path. Because currently, all the money that Tesla is getting from all of their credits is going towards building gigafactories. So think about it. We're talking about debt from all of the legacy automotive makers going up because they have to pay these credits, and Tesla taking the money from their competition and using it to build their factories to put them even further ahead. It's like free money. And it's ridiculous that this is going forward. And so looking at profits between the different companies that are out there, Tesla right now has a debt of $100 million. Yes, they have more, but it's looking at a net debt because they have so much cash on hand are basically debt-free. And for Q1, they had $3.3 billion of profit. When we're looking at GM has $109 billion of debt, and they brought in $3 billion of profit in Q1. Ford has $138 billion of debt, and they were negative $3 billion due to Rivian in Q1. Then we've got Volkswagen. Volkswagen is one of the few that might actually have a chance to survive all of this, but they still have $205 billion of debt and brought in about $7 billion of profits in Q1. So when you're looking at your portfolio and we're looking at the future and we're looking at competition and people are saying competition is coming, sure, that's actually a good thing for Tesla because the more the competition comes, the faster the EV adoption is going to take over. So then we say, all right, well, who's going to be having the most vehicles sold from all of the EVs? It's going to be whoever is producing the most. And Tesla is building factories on their competition's dime. And so with that, they're going to be making even more money on all of this. And so let's just extrapolate this a little bit further down the road, looking at ourselves. If you're going out there and trying to buy a house, one of the first things that, lenders look for is your debt to income ratio. Tesla right now has no debt and the highest income out of all of the legacy automotive makers other than VW. So yes, they don't have their credit rating, at investor grade yet, but they'll get there, which means that if they actually did need to go into debt and borrow money, they could do it better than anybody else. Meanwhile, we've got GM and Ford who are already swamped with debt and don't have enough income coming in to offset the debt that they currently have. And then they're going to have to worry about taking on extra debt in order to build up the EV side of their business, which as of right now isn't even profitable. So you just keep on taking these steps forward and realize that the challenge that legacy automotive has is significant. Yes, they can produce a lot more vehicles that are ICE vehicles, but when we take a look at GM, in order for GM to match the profits of Tesla, they have to sell 5 times as many vehicles. So do you think that is a formula that's going to be able to catch Tesla? It's not. It's just realistically looking at the numbers, just extrapolating out year after year on the trajectory that they're on, Tesla is growing up. All the legacy automotive makers are coming down. It's just not feasible for them looking at straight numbers. I mean, this is just basic logic. They are not going to be able to compete in the future. And then we look at talent, and we already discussed that before, where in the future, Tesla is still going to be able to get their pick of all of the talent that comes out. Tesla is going to be leading the way with innovation, which these kids are going to want to go work for, and Tesla is going to have the most money that can pay these kids top dollar. So why would these kids not want to choose Tesla? These kids coming out of college want to go work for whoever has the best innovations out there. That is Tesla and SpaceX. Why would you not want to work for the greatest engineer on the planet? I mean, the guy is brilliant, Elon, and you want to go work for him because you want to learn from him as the best. And one of the things that we hear a lot about are, these people who are on the ICE vehicle side of things in the oil industry saying that EVs aren't as clean as you think they are because look at all the mining and this and that. And then you look at the electrical grid and how old and dirty it is. That's true. The electrical grid is old and dirty, and Tesla does mention that in their report. But why would we want to stay with an old and dirty grid and not update it to solar and wind like Tesla is aiming for? So as the grid gets updated to cleaner energy, the vehicles will in turn be cleaner. You can't get that with ICE vehicles. ICE vehicles are as clean as they are going to get. And unfortunately, a lot of this falsehood gets spread by the companies who are about to go out of business. The whole oil industry, legacy automotive, the UAW, they are fighting and clawing for everything they can. So they're spreading all of this FUD and mistruth out there in order to do this. And this is why the stock gets shorted a lot, because there are people who are trying to bring it down to try and slow Tesla down. So when we're looking at things like that, it's like eventually we're going to hit the point where oil is gone from what we know it today. ICE vehicles are going to be gone. So bottom line, the impact that Tesla is having on the world, they have the cleanest and safest vehicles on the road that are the best performing vehicles that are out there, with the highest margins and best vertical integration, along with the best talent out there to produce all of their vehicles and drive their business forward even faster. They have everything going in their favor, everything in the right direction, and despite the fact that the stock price does not reflect it now, it eventually will reflect all of this, and it will all culminate. I have in my head, and I don't know why, but 2025 for me is a very key year. And for me, I think it's because that's when we're really going to turn and EV adoption is going to be taking off. Everyone is going to realize that that is the future. We are going to have robotaxis starting to hit the road in full force, and we are going to see where legacy auto stands. And we are going to see whatever players are going to be able to survive will be there, and the other ones are going to die off or have to merge with someone else. So 2025 is my big year target that I'm looking for, and between now and then, I think this is where it's going to give us the best opportunity to buy, because I think in 2025, we are going to see a growth of the stock faster than we are going to see between now and then. And I think it's just really going to take off with a lot of people finally grasping what is truly going on when it comes to Tesla. Let me know in the comments below if you guys had a chance to go through the impact report and what are the biggest takeaways that you guys took from that report. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. Thank you so much. Have a great one.